look around. Everyone's talking, everyone's posting, everyone's trying to prove something, but the real ones, they're quiet, they're focused, they're building. Because when you truly want to win, you stop broadcasting your moves and start mastering your game in silence. Let them talk. Let them doubt. You're not here to impress. You're here to evolve. Self-discipline equals power. It is the core principle that separates winners from losers, the strong from the weak, and the successful from the mediocre. Self-discipline means doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It's the muscle that drags you out of bed before the sun rises. It's what makes you train when you're tired, work when you're uninspired, and push when others would fold. Most people don't lack talent. They lack control over their impulses. They scroll instead of study. They eat junk instead of fuel. They react emotionally instead of moving strategically. Every time you make a decision based on emotion rather than purpose, you give up power. You trade long-term progress for short-term pleasure. And that's the currency of the weak. Power isn't about dominance over others. It's about complete control over yourself. You can't lead anyone until you lead yourself. Discipline is the quiet force that makes you dangerous. It's the ability to delay gratification, resist distractions, and show up again and again, even when motivation dies. Because motivation always dies. It's fragile. But discipline? Discipline is the beast that survives through every season. It doesn't care about the weather. It doesn't care how you feel. It only knows execution. You can't control the world. You can't control the economy, the weather, or other people's opinions, but you can control your habits, your attitude, your decisions, and your reactions. And when you realize that your daily habits are a reflection of your future, you stop playing games. You stop making excuses. You start moving with purpose. Every second you waste is a second you hand to someone else who's working harder. Every time you hit snooze, someone else is hitting reps. Every time you indulge in weakness, someone else is stacking discipline. And when it's time to compete, when it's time to deliver, they will dominate you. Not because they're better, but because they were more consistent. Discipline isn't built in one day. It's built every single moment you say no to comfort and yes to progress. It's built in the silence, away from the cameras, where no one's watching, where the applause doesn't exist. That's where power is born. You don't rise when it's easy. You rise when it's hard, and you do it anyway, because that's who you are. And once you've trained yourself to master discipline, nobody can stop you. Not the economy, not your background, not your haters, not your fear. Power is earned by the ones who are ruthless with themselves, by the ones who choose structure over chaos, focus over distraction, and growth over comfort. Discipline is painful, yes, but so is regret. The difference is discipline builds you, regret destroys you. Choose your pain, choose your path, but understand this: whoever controls themselves owns their life. That's real power. Silence is a weapon, and most people have no idea how to use it. In a world obsessed with noise, opinions, attention-seeking, and constant validation, silence is misunderstood. Everyone wants to be seen, to be heard, to be liked. They post every move, talk about every plan, and share every thought, thinking that visibility equals strength. But real strength isn't loud, it's quiet. It doesn't need confirmation. It doesn't seek approval. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. It's how you build in the shadows while others waste time broadcasting intentions they'll never act on. When you're silent, people don't know what's coming. They can't anticipate your moves. They can't prepare a defense. They can't sabotage what they don't see. That gives you the upper hand. You become unpredictable, mysterious, and in any game, business, fitness, war, life, unpredictability is lethal. You're not distracted by what others are saying. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not explaining yourself, debating, or defending your grind. You're just doing the work. And when the results show, no one saw it coming. That's power. Talking is easy. It feels good. It gives the illusion of progress. But talking doesn't build anything. Silence, on the other hand, is where real work happens. That's where goals are formed, systems are built, discipline is tested, and transformation begins. It's in silence that you hear your real thoughts. You identify what needs to change. You eliminate noise, people, habits, and patterns that hold you back. Silence gives you clarity. And clarity is rare in a world full of confusion. People fear silence because it forces them to confront themselves. Without the distractions, the empty conversations, the fake dopamine from likes and comments, they have to face who they really are. And for most, that's uncomfortable. But if you can sit in that discomfort, you grow, you sharpen your vision, you become calculated, you observe more, you say less, you move better. That's what separates the ones who win from the ones who just talk about winning. There's also psychological advantage in silence. When you don't react, you stay in control. People expect responses. They want reactions, emotions, arguments. They want you to reveal what you're thinking. But when you remain silent, you stay unreadable. You frustrate the opposition. You make them guess. And while they're guessing, you're acting. You're not wasting energy explaining why you're different, why you're working, or what you're going to do. You just do it. That's how silence turns into dominance. Silence teaches patience. You stop expecting instant recognition. You stop looking for praise. You stop begging for support. You realize no one's coming to save you, so you get to work alone, quietly, consistently. And eventually your silence gets so loud they can't ignore it anymore. But by then, it's too late for them to catch up. Focus builds results, and without it, you're just another distracted soul pretending to chase success. Most people fail not because they lack talent or resources, but because they spread their attention across too many useless things. They chase 5 goals at once, start 10 projects, and finish none. They check their phone every 2 minutes, jump from one dopamine hit to the next, and then wonder why nothing in their life changes. Focus is rare because discipline is rare. The world is full of noise, distractions, fake urgency, and meaningless entertainment designed to steal your time. If you don't guard your focus, the world will consume it for you. Focus is not just about working hard, it's about working smart. It's choosing what matters and cutting off everything else. It's saying no to 99% of what comes your way so you can go all in on the one thing that actually matters. That takes strength. That takes clarity. Most people can't do it because they're addicted to the buzz of doing too much. They think being busy means being productive. But movement isn't progress. Focused effort is. Every minute you spend chasing gossip, watching someone else live their life, or arguing online is a minute you're not using to improve your own. Focus demands sacrifice. It requires you to cut people off, to log off, to unplug, to remove the things that distract you, even if they entertain you. It's not about feeling good in the moment. It's about stacking consistent actions that get you closer to where you want to be, even if no one notices. That's where the results are born, when no one's clapping and you stay locked in. A focused person becomes a threat. They move different. They don't chase trends, they set them. They don't get pulled into drama, they rise above it. People who lack focus won't understand you. They'll try to pull you back into their scattered energy because your commitment exposes their laziness. That's when you need to double down. Ignore the noise. Let them talk while you work. Let them waste their time while you multiply yours. The scoreboard will speak. Your mind is a battlefield, and the enemy is distraction. The phone, the party, the friend who keeps you average, the excuses, all of it is designed to break your focus. If you let it win, you lose. But if you control your environment, master your time, and focus like your life depends on it, everything changes. You get sharper, faster, more effective. You stop needing motivation because the results of focus fuel you. You feel yourself separating. While others waste time, you buy time. While others guess, you execute. And you don't need to explain how you did it. The results will make the statement for you. That's the power of focus. It doesn't scream, it delivers. Isolation breeds strength, but most people run from it. They fear being alone because it strips away distractions, noise, and the fake comfort of validation. In isolation, there's no audience, no applause, no opinions to drown in. It's just you versus you. That's where the truth lives. That's where you find out who you really are, without filters, without masks, without pretending. And it's in that raw, unfiltered state where real growth begins. Strength isn't built in crowds. It's built in the silence, in the solitude, in the grind that no one sees. When you isolate yourself, you remove the clutter. You disconnect from people who drain your energy, from habits that weaken your mind, from conversations that lead nowhere. You stop absorbing everyone else's noise and start listening to your own voice. You start understanding what you want, what drives you, what you're willing to suffer for. Isolation forces clarity, and clarity gives you the edge. While the rest of the world is caught up in drama and distraction, you're sharpening your vision and building the foundation they'll never see coming. Most people are addicted to company because they fear their own thoughts. They don't want to be alone because when the noise dies down, they're forced to face their laziness, their weakness, their lack of direction. But if you can sit in that discomfort and own it, you become dangerous. You stop needing the crowd to feel confident. You stop needing approval to move forward. Your confidence starts coming from your discipline, your habits, your results, not from likes, praise, or external support. Isolation builds a mindset that doesn't fold under pressure. When you've spent months or years grinding alone without recognition, without help, you become immune to setbacks. You've already trained in the dark, so pressure doesn't scare you. You've already sacrificed comfort, so failure doesn't break you. You've already gone through hell alone, so nobody can use loneliness against you. You become independent, mentally bulletproof. That's a strength most people never develop because they never isolate long enough to discover it. It's not about being antisocial or cutting off everyone forever. It's about choosing to lock in when it matters, to walk away from the party when others stay, to spend your evenings building instead of escaping, to separate yourself long enough to evolve. Because once you level up in isolation, you return to the world different. You walk with confidence, you move with purpose, you speak with weight. People notice, even if they don't understand. And by then you're not seeking validation, you're setting the pace. The time you spent alone wasn't loneliness, it was preparation. And the strength you built in silence becomes the force that moves everything forward. Success is the loudest response. You don't need to argue, defend, or explain your actions when the results speak for you. In a world where everyone talks, where people try to prove themselves through words, opinions, and fake confidence, real power lies in outcomes. Talking is cheap. It costs nothing to say you're going to do something. Anyone can make promises, post motivational quotes, or pretend they're grinding, but success, real, measurable success, is rare because it takes consistency, sacrifice, and silence. That's what separates the doers from the talkers. When you succeed, you don't need validation. Your work becomes your voice. Your lifestyle becomes your answer. Every goal you hit, every milestone you achieve, every change you make, that's your proof. That's your weapon. And the best part is, it shuts everyone up. The critics, the doubters, the ones who laughed at you, they all go silent when the scoreboard shows the truth. You don't have to say a word. Your actions become a language louder than any argument. And that kind of silence hits harder than any response you could give. People love to doubt what they can't do themselves. They'll mock your ambition, question your choices, and try to pull you back down to their level. If you waste your energy trying to convince them, you're already losing. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them write you off. That's fuel. That's data. Use it, not by clapping back, not by debating, but by working, building, winning, and letting the end result answer everything for you. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself through noise and start proving yourself through results, the game changes. Success makes everything undeniable. You can't fake it. You can't borrow it. You can't pretend to have it. It either shows in your body, your bank account, your discipline, your habits, or it doesn't. You become undeniable when your results are real. And when that happens, people pay attention. Not because you begged for it, not because you tried to impress them, but because you became something they couldn't ignore. See, that's the beauty of success. It silences everything. There's also a shift in how you carry yourself. When you've earned success, you don't need to chase attention. You don't need to flex. You don't need to prove your worth. You know what you've built. You know what it cost. You've done the hard work when no one was watching, so now your presence speaks before you do. That kind of energy can't be faked. It's forged through pain, repetition, and staying locked in when others quit. Success becomes your identity, not through what you say, but through what you've done. And the more you win, the quieter you become, not because you're hiding, but because you understand that real power moves in silence and lets the results echo through the world. Success is the answer. Always. The world rewards those who don't complain. It doesn't matter how unfair life is, how hard your upbringing was, or how many obstacles you face. Nobody's coming to save you. Complaining is a signal of weakness. It tells the world that you've accepted the problem but don't have the discipline or courage to fix it. People who constantly complain are looking for sympathy, attention, or excuses to stay the same. But the world doesn't care about feelings, it respects results, and results only come to those who take responsibility without whining. Every minute you spend complaining is a minute wasted. It changes nothing, it solves nothing, it only reinforces helplessness. It puts you in a mindset of being a victim, and the moment you see yourself as a victim, you've already lost. Because victims don't win. Winners adapt. They assess the situation, accept the pain, and take action. They don't need applause for suffering. They use the struggle as fuel. They get better, sharper, tougher. And that's why the world opens doors for them, because they've proven they can handle life without needing constant reassurance. Life will hit you. You will get betrayed, lied to, underestimated, and ignored. That's not unique to you. That's the entry fee for growth. But how you respond to that determines everything. You can cry about it, talk about how unfair it is, or you can channel that energy into something that gets you ahead. Complaining is a short-term emotional release that guarantees long-term stagnation. It feels good for a second, but it costs you your momentum, your focus, and your respect. People stop taking you seriously. They tune you out. Because everyone's dealing with something, and the ones who win are the ones who keep pushing forward no matter what. The people who rise to the top aren't always the smartest or most talented. They're the ones who kept going. The ones who didn't let pain turn them into victims. The ones who faced rejection, loss, failure, and didn't broadcast it for sympathy. They suffered in silence. They kept moving. They worked while others whined, and in the end, that's what separates them. That resilience, that ability to keep your mouth shut and your head down while life tests you. Nobody respects a complainer. They respect the person who gets up every day and does the work, no matter how they feel. The world is brutal to the weak and indifferent to your problems. That's why you build strength, not just physical, but mental. You train your mind to shut down excuses, to ignore the urge to vent, to replace complaints with action. When something goes wrong, your instinct shouldn't be to cry about it. It should be to fix it, learn from it, or use it. That's the mindset that gets rewarded. Because when you stop complaining, you start solving. When you stop waiting for help, you start building your own way out. And that's the type of person the world takes seriously. When you lock in on yourself, master your discipline, move in silence, and stay focused, life begins to shift. You stop chasing things that don't matter and start becoming the kind of person that attracts everything worth having. The world starts aligning, not because it suddenly got easier, but because you got stronger. You stopped explaining and started executing. You embraced isolation, cut off the noise, and let your results do all the talking. You quit complaining and started building, and that shift in mindset made you unstoppable. So understand this. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you don't just find peace, you find power. And once that power is yours, everything falls into place.